Hey, county police, let me see your hand. Whatever you have in your hand, put it down. Where's your partner?
Let's talk about a story that both of us were involved in that you're not going to find very much in a rural setting. Okay. We're coming up on a year. So when COVID first hit, you and I were hunting, and it's a pretty suburban area. There's a lot of houses around, and we're texting back and forth, probably making lewd jokes.
For sure.
We were
safe bet.
We were within about 75 to 100 yards of each other.
Yeah, well, so let's set the scene, because where we're hunting is it's a development, and this individual bought 2 lots.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hunting on an outlot that has no house on it, near a couple other houses. And when this area was first getting developed, there was a driveway that the developer put in to drive to the top of this hill and look around and show off the entire parcel. And so when this dude bought that lot, that driveway just became grass, which is now our parking spot. So we call it the driveway to nowhere. But we pulled in on the driveway. You parked behind me. We met up. We talked for a bit, and we went out to our trees. And so I was probably like 200 yards from
the truck,
and you were probably 100 yards from the truck, but you were more parallel with the road, and I was more in on like a 30-degree angle from you, 45-degree angle.
And you were also faced in the direction of the vehicles, because you texted me something sexual, and then you said, hey, I think someone just pulled up behind our trucks.
Yep.
Someone's parked there.
And so it was in the dark, and I saw the amber light on of a car, and I pulled my binos out, and the sun was literally like coming up, or it was gray light, but it wasn't like fully sunlight. I remember looking up and seeing the light of a car, and I could see the front quarter panel, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? I think it was a Ford Taurus.
I couldn't see.
It was like red, and it looked like a crackhead's car. And I'm like, oh no, is this? My first thought was, this is a like crackhead from the city that's out here like stealing stuff from people's house. Some weird, obscure thought that you have.
Yeah, but it's hard to see, because you were probably close to 200 yards away.
Yeah, I was a ways away. But my first instinct was, it's like a beat up POS car. Like it looked weird. And then I was texting you. I said, do you see that car or something? And I think you said, yeah, I don't know what they're doing. And then you said, my truck dome lights came on.
Yeah.
That they're in my car. I'm getting down.
Yep. I could actually, so I looked back and I could see someone walking around our trucks. And then, when you open up a door, a lot of times the exterior lights and the dome light, obviously the dome light's going to come on, but the exterior lights will come on.
Yeah, it was your cab light, I think, is what it's the thing that comes into your
Yeah, I also saw like the signal lights, on my car. When you open it up, everything kind of flashes once. And I said, that son of a bitch he's in my truck. I'm getting down right now.
Yeah.
And so I immediately, I'm putting stuff to the ground. I get down to the ground. My sticks, I'm about to start putting my sticks together, cradled up, and I heard someone walking in the woods. And at first I thought it was you. I was like, wow, how'd he get down so fast, But then as I look up, I hear, put your hands where I can see him.
Freeze!
Don't you fucking move.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And at that point, you had started recording with your phone.
So, we're in a floodplain. The topography kind of comes down the hill, and I was looking at our cars, and I started getting a little concerned when you said that they were in your car, because, it looks like, my first thought, crackhead car. Now your door's open, like they're robbing your car, and my car's next. I actually remember pulling my phone out and trying to lock my car via the app.
You were too far away.
Yeah, I don't think I had service or whatever. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see a police officer coming down the hill with his machine gun, his rifle, his patrol rifle, like shouldered, like at the high ready, I guess is the proper term.
Pointed at my face.
Yeah, and screaming. And I just remember the feeling of like how heightened this
Oh, yeah.
police officer, like the level that he had raised this to, right? Like gun shouldered, and I'm like, oh my God. And I remember I took my phone out and I recorded it. When I first saw the guy, the officer, I started recording it because I'm like, oh, this is a good example to show people what we have to deal with in the suburbs, right? Like a cop is interrupting our hunt. And then when I saw him, when he started screaming at you, and I could hear in his voice like how elevated he was. I got really freaked out.
He was nervous.
Yeah, and I was freaked out because I'm like, this dude's gonna shoot Billy.
Yep.
Was my first
So
thought.
so then he gets over to me and I'm frozen, hands are up, and I had a stick in my hand. He probably didn't know what the hell the stick was. Also,
Thank
so
God you didn't turn
he's like,
it, like look at him.
Yeah, what if I had my bow
crossbow.
or crossbow or something and I just turned towards
what? Yeah.
So he comes over and he gets behind me and he frisks me, and that is that's the first time I've ever had someone literally, I mean, full on grab every bit of my body and make sure I didn't have a penknife, right? So then he's going, "Are you here by yourself?" I'm like, I've got a buddy. He's right over there. He's like, then he got really freaked out. He's like, "Hey, come over here."
I remember
now.
he was like, "Where's your buddy?
Where's he at? Where's he at?
Yeah, where's he at?" That's what he said.
And then Taylor's like, "I'm here. I'm coming." He said, "You're not coming fast enough." He's like, "Sir, I'm in a tree. I'm trying to get down. You need to get here now." And he's yelling at Taylor.
He was so mad. And I remember I was trying to explain in my mind,
"Sir, I can't jump out of a tree."
Yeah, and I have all this crap, and like as you climb the tree, like all my stuff is layered to come out. I can't just bail out of the tree, and so I'm like trying to put my camera away, and I wish I had recorded this. And I just like swung over out of the way in my backpack and dropped down. And I was hunting in a tree that had some like pegs in it, so it was kind of awkward to like come off the platform and come down the tree. But I remember I walked over with my hands up, and I think you were on your knees with your hands interlocked, right?
Yeah, and that's right, because he searched us both at the same time, didn't he? No, he searched me first. So at that point, I think he was able to allow me to step away and like.
I just remember I was like, "Sir, what is going on?" And he was like, "I didn't ask you to talk. I told you to shut your mouth." And I'm like, "Dude,
Here we go.
like it's pretty obvious what we're doing, right? At least, I mean, to anybody that is able to walk and chew gum at the same time, they should know what we're doing."
Yeah.
And
so then he checks all of our licenses, our permission forms, and everything, and we're totally
legit.
We're legit. We're good to go. So then everything at that point calms down. Okay, to a reasonable level, right? Yeah. And I think you said, "Hey, so whoever called and complained about us, can you tell us who it is, or can you talk to them and say, hey, these people have permission to be here?" And he said,
"Nobody called.
No one called. We got you guys on thermal."
On the drone.
Yeah, that's right.
On the drone.
Yeah.
I said, "You don't have a drone. What are you talking about?"
At first, remember, I had heard a helicopter go over earlier, so I just, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe they were using. I don't know. I'm not a police officer.
I'm not a criminal. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I don't do these types of things. I don't run from cops. I don't hide from cops very often. So we kind of. It was an abrupt ending.
He just left.
He just says, "All right, well," and then he didn't walk towards his car. He walked up towards the house. I'm like, oh, he's going to go up and ask permission or ask the landowner if we have permission there. He got up to the driveway and then walked down to his car, and then he turned and went deeper into the neighborhood. 15, 20 minutes later, he came creeping back out and left. So I was definitely shook up having a gun pointed at my face. I was worried, and to back up a little bit, we've had interactions with police officers literally dozens of times while hunting. Very similar situations, except they've never come into the woods on us.
Ever.
They've always gone to the vehicles. I've had them, squeak the siren. I've also had them just call, "Hey, come on out, guys, come on out." They have to check maybe they got a call, maybe they got a complaint, whatever it was. And, that's why we always have our paperwork and licenses and permission forms and everything.
Well, it makes sense from like a tactical standpoint, right?
Yeah,
Wait by the car. Don't just go in.
He went in blind to two guys that have weapons, didn't know how many people. But, so we talked.
He also radioed, once we both got down there, something like, yeah, I got him. You can take the guns off him now.
Yeah, he did say something like that.
There was like a sniper up there watching us.
That's right.
And then he told us, I'm not a regular cop. I'm a special cop.
Yeah.
And we said, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? And every question we asked was answered with like, shut up. I didn't tell you to talk kind of attitude. And I just remember at the time it was like, whoa, we need to de-escalate the situation because this guy's really ramping it up. And then afterwards, after the adrenaline wore off, it was like, wait a minute.
That shouldn't have happened like that. Police officers don't act like that.
And he should have given us a card.
We started thinking, maybe that guy wasn't really a cop.
And remember, his uniform was weird. He had some like weird patches or something.
Things were odd. So we started talking to people, other law enforcement folks, and they're like, whoa. And they saw the video. They're like, whoa, something's definitely wrong here. You definitely need to go into the police station and, talk to someone in there who can give you some answers.
Yeah, I actually called and dispatched to see if there was a police officer like out on patrol in that area or something, because it was super odd.
Yeah.
And we ended up going in and meeting with his captain. Or was it captain?
I think.
Lieutenant.
I don't know.
Superior officer.
It was his superior, and they even told us, he said, look, and that was right when COVID hit, right when everyone was locked down. Technically, people were saying you shouldn't have even been out of your home, but in our state, we were allowed to go out and do recreational activities and things like that. Hunting and fishing, you were allowed to do that, and we were out doing it. I thought when he first came up, I'm like, he's pulling a gun on me because I'm not in lockdown, don't have a mask on. Yeah. What the hell, man? I'm going to cough on you right now, So, but then we talked to the superior officer, or his superior, and he said, look, guy doesn't get out much, out of the office, and he really is kind of like on a, we're numbers are low because of COVID. We don't have as many officers out, so we need to get some more people out, and I appreciate. And we showed him the video, and he's like, well, and he did take both perspectives, I thought, very fairly and objectively.
Yeah.
And he said, look, from his perspective, he didn't know what was going on. He might have told you, certain things because he was trying to protect himself. Maybe you guys had weapons, and he wants to protect himself. I get that too. And, but yeah, there were people who were definitely suggesting that we should, go after him and things like that. And, but that wasn't the point. It was more, and remember, we were even going back and forth. Let's not even report it because it's not a big deal. The guy was just, thought he was just doing his job. But then after we had really talked about it, talked to other folks, they said, at the bare minimum, if that officer, because that's a fluke. I mean, we've dealt with dozens and dozens of officers who are just awesome. They know what they're doing. They're awesome. They do exactly what they're supposed to do, and they're there to serve and protect. And that guy maybe was just a little more gung-ho than he needed to be. So maybe that needed to be checked.
Yeah, and I think one of the main things, because we were going back and forth without even reporting it. Because, it's important to know we are both like huge supporters of law enforcement, right?
Absolutely.
And we're like, dude, I'm not trying to cause a problem for this guy. Like, I'm not the dude who's like yelling World Star and recording something going on, right? It was more of, we got to the point where we were like, hey, this doesn't add up in my mind, and I want to make sure this guy's really a cop.
That's right.
Because I don't want to be hunting in the, going in and out of the woods in the dark, whether it's morning or evening hunts. One of them is in the dark, and I don't want this dude to be some like weirdo guy who like wants to be a cop and never made it past the psych eval or something, and he's running around with a gun.
Yeah, because it was his actions were so out of the ordinary. If any police officer we've ever dealt with, and then we started thinking, maybe he isn't a cop. It's like all the conspiracy theories kind of coming out, Maybe he's trying to take our hunting spot. He's trying to scare us off of it. No, not really. But I mean, those things, I think that was, when we started talking about it that way, that I remember saying to you, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go and at least talk to him. And because he wanted to see if we wanted to make a formal report and everything else. We said no. That was not the point, is to get this guy in trouble. The point was we wanted to find out if he was a real police officer, one. And then two, is this proper protocol? Is there, like, because that's frightening if that's standard.
Yeah.
Right. And his superior officer said, look, he was a little too gung-ho. He was very diplomatic about
He was pretty diplomatic about
how he apologized. He said, well, it probably shouldn't have happened in that way. I'm sure it won't happen again. And that's kind of how
and he was very political and poised in his response.
There's a reason he was the superior, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it was funny. I mean, looking back on it now, we can laugh at it, but it was terrifying.
Absolutely.
To me. And then thinking through, you were hunting with a crossbow because we were, longer story, we were in there targeting a specific animal that really needed to get harvested. You're looking for that doe that somebody else had shot with an arrow.
Well, we didn't know if it was shot or if it was just sick.
Yeah.
And recently there's CWD's been in the state. It's like it looked like something was wrong, but on camera we thought there might have been an arrow injury, but when they get that messed up fur with CWD, you don't know what it is. So it's just like, all right, let's go in there and smoke her.
Right. And so, but you had your crossbow, and thinking about if you had just been, if the timing had been just slightly different, and you had turned around with your crossbow in your hand, or
in my hand, accidentally, like I didn't know he was coming, and I pointed in the direction.
Yeah, or even your climbing stick.
Yeah.
And this dude already had the gun up.
Oh,
ready to rock. And that could have been
because when I looked up, I saw the barrel, like, pointed at my face.
Of an M4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is not good.
Nope. And
it took me a long time to, like, calm down from that day. I vividly remember that.
We talked on the phone, like, 50 times that day.
Yeah, well, and
texting back and forth.
We had I think I put the video on Instagram, and it, like, caught viral legs.
It blew. Could you imagine if that would have gone out like right after all the George Floyd stuff?
Oof.
Oh, that would have been bad.
That would have been really bad.
That would have been terrible. I'm actually glad it didn't, because that would have put an even worse light on law enforcement that shouldn't have been.
Yeah, we weren't trying to do that.
No.
We were just like, the only reason I was filming it to begin with was like, oh, look, the cops are here. Like, this is what we deal with in the burbs.
Yeah.
And then
all of a sudden he's like shouldering his rifle.
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh, like this is bad. Like no, monkey bad. This is not good.
That makes me think. I need to look in the mirror and see how ugly I really am. See, he pulled a gun on me,
Yeah, but and I think his like superior officer said that he like thought we were in a park.